It's the most exciting time of the year, folks. And no, I'm not talking about the Stanley Cup playoffs, though admittedly, the Stanley Cup playoffs are a grand old time. But if you're one of the clubs that either doesn't make the playoffs or doesn't go particularly far in the playoffs, you're selling hope and you're looking forward to the annual NHL Draft. The 2025 edition of the NHL Draft takes place in LA this year, and it's just shy of a month away. And so let's dive into what we can expect from the Calgary Flames as they embark upon the second full year of their rebrand, retool, rehabilitation, reconfiguration, whatever term you want to use to describe the process of changing over their roster and getting younger. We're in year 2 of it. So what can we expect from the Calgary Flames at this year's NHL Draft? Let's check it out. So for the Flames this year, they have a bunch of draft picks. A year ago in Vegas, the Flames made 10 selections. They had tons of picks as a consequence of the teardown they embarked upon during Craig Conroy's first year as GM. This year, on paper, at least to start, they have 7 selections that they control. The 7 selections are as follows. In the first round, 18th overall, this is the first rounder they got from the New Jersey Devils as part of the Jacob Markstrom trade. A first rounder, either 31st or 32nd overall, depending on whether or not Florida wins the Stanley Cup once again. If they lose in the final, it's 31. If they win in the final, it's 32. This is the pick that will finally conclude the myriad of conditions as a result of the Matthew Tkachuk trade to Florida. They also own Colorado's second-round pick, 57th overall. They got that from Washington in the Andrew Mangiapane trade. And then they have a bunch of picks that are their own original picks. Third round, 80th overall. Fifth round, 144th. Sixth round, 176th. And seventh round, 208th. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, the Flames really do tend to make interesting picks in the 7th round. We'll get into some draft history in a future video, but needless to say, the Flames are in a situation where they got to make every pick count. When you're a contending team, you can, you might be able to whiff on some picks because your NHL roster is fantastic. When your NHL roster is not fantastic, you want to make it fantastic, and as a result, you really need to hit on those picks. And so the Calgary Flames are going to be aiming to make 7 picks, maybe more, but they'll be aiming to make all their picks count when it comes to this year's entry draft. So what can we expect from the Calgary Flames at the 2025 NHL Draft? Well, in our experience, a really good predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And so if you look back to the last 2 drafts under Craig Conroy, 2023 and 2024, you can get a sense of sort of what the Flames like, what they value, the types of players they want, the types of players they need, and based on what they haven't picked so far, the kind of players they don't have enough of. And so let's delve into that a bit. Under Conroy, through 2 drafts, the Flames have made 16 draft selections. That is 2 goaltenders, 5 defensemen, and 9 forwards. The defensemen skew a little bit to the left, 3 lefties and 2 righties. Up front on the forward ranks, you got 6 left shot forwards and 3 righties there. Your goaltenders, both Russian, Yegor Yegorov and Kirill Zarubin. Your defensemen on the left, you got Etienne Morin, Axel Hertig, and Eric Jameson. On the right, you got 2 pretty high-end right shot defensemen in Zane Parekh and Henry Muse. Up front in the forward group, it's kind of an eclectic mix. A lot of really interesting lefties. Your lefties are Sam Honzik, Adar Suniev, Matvei Gridin, Andrew Basha, Jacob Battaglia, and Luke Misa. Of that group, Gridin is a left shot who plays the right, and Misa is a left shot center. You can make an argument as to whether or not he'll be able to play center at the NHL or pro levels. He's small, but he's very good. So I'm willing to have the conversation as to if he's too small to be a center at a higher level. He's been really good in the OHL, and he's heading to college. On the right side, you got Jaden Lipinski, Trevor Hoskin, and Hunter Lang. Lipinski, Lang, and Hoskin have all played center to various degrees. Hoskin has mostly been a winger in the NCAA level. We'll see if he ends up playing much of any center going forward, but that's sort of the mix they have, and you can sort of get a sense of, they have a bunch of guys who have some size, who have some skill. They have a mixture of shutdown guys and puck movers. They have, as you can see, a lot of high-end left shot players or guys that project to be potentially high-end players. So that's sort of the general mix of the players they have. And so, now that we know kind of what they have, what don't they have? What might they want to get and what might they need to get at this year's entry draft? Let's check out their needs. So, from far away, here's what we think their needs are in the 2025 draft. High-end natural centers. When we say natural centers, we mean guys who've grown up playing center, guys who are always center, guys that need to play center. We see they're natural wingers, guys that never play center, only ever play the wing, and so they're trained to sort of think a certain way on the ice, and so you basically need to reprogram them to have them play center. Matthew Tkachuk was a natural winger in that you go, Matthew Tkachuk, we sure would like you to play wing, and he's great at wing. You try to make him play center, wouldn't quite work. There are some forwards that can play center. Connor Zary played center growing up. He's probably the closest thing to a high-end natural center the Flames have in their system right now. They need more. We've seen a lot. We'll get into this in a future video. And we talked about this last year at this time. The Flames' quest for an elite center in the draft, or even just developing one internally. They're hard to find, but they need high-end centers. They need centers, as you can see from the last from who they've drafted. They got oodles of wingers. If you look at the NHL roster, still oodles of wingers. Their centers on the NHL roster, bless their hearts, no disrespect intended, a little bit long in the tooth. Michael Backlund and Nazem Kadri are both on the wrong side of 30, and then Zary is working on it. Morgan Frost is working on it. They're both fairly new pro players that have yet to really establish themselves as centers the way that Kadri or Backlund have. The Flames need more. The Flames, you need to have replacements for Kadri and Backlund, so they need those. Next up, right shot forwards in general. If you look at the NHL roster, oodles of lefties. Look at the AHL roster for the Wranglers, oodles of lefties. They had, the Flames and the Wranglers both have a bunch of left shot guys playing their off wings. And, you can make a case that arguably their best right side prospect, Matt Vigridden, he's lefty. And so you want to get some more guys who can play their natural side, so you don't have the guy. Flexibility is great. You want to have flexibility, but ideally you want to have strong side options on both sides. Similarly, puck moving wingers. The Flames, they keep developing and drafting these guys. I think the guys that are pretty close to the NHL in the system right now are guys like Ilya Solovyov, who's a really good meat and potato shutdown guy. Jan Kuznetsov is right there with him. They're both sort of defensive-minded guys. Ed Chamaran is a puck mover. He's he's sort of a little bit of everything guy. He can pretty much play anything you need him to do and do it well. That versatility will really be helpful. But you have Gridden, or you have Perek, you have Muse, you have Hunter Brzustevich, but you'd love to have more because you want to have more options and you want to create a competitive environment with the Wranglers where guys aren't playing, aren't getting time or aren't getting power play time by default. They have to battle for it, and you'd love to not have. To be blunt, you'd love to not have a spot for the veterans there. You'd love to not have a spot for a Tyson Barrie or a Jared Tenorti or a Jonathan Aspro. You'd love to have it just be full of homegrown guys battling for spots, kind of the way the forward group is. And so they need more. They need more guys that can play that style. They need more guys that can sort of develop and flesh the games out the way Brzustevich did this year. They just need more. And so they've got oodles of left shot forwards and who can play a certain style. They need more defensemen that can do that. Finally, the running joke every year is, I wonder what obscure Russian goaltender Jordan Siglet's going to find in the late rounds this year. It's funny because he keeps doing it. Kirill Zarubin was drafted a little bit earlier last year, the third round. But in previous years we've seen Yegor Yegorov, we've seen Arseny Sergayev. We've seen others. Famously Dustin Wolf, who is not Russian, but he is very good. So the Flames, drafting a goalie late isn't that much of a gamble. You know, you use a 6th or 7th rounder on a goalie, and he turns out he looks smart. If he doesn't turn out, it's a 6th or 7th rounder, so the stakes are lower. And so I suspect, you know, if there's value to be found late in the draft in that 6th or 7th round, the Flames will be looking at potentially grabbing another goaltender. I don't think they need one necessarily, but if you wanted to just keep backfilling the system, you know, you just saw Arsenij Sergayev going to the pro system this year when he signed at the end of his college season. You'd love to continue to fill out that system. So I think if you're the Flames, if there's value to be found, if there's someone playing in one of the obscure Russian leagues that Jordan Siglet seems to scour, you have the options to potentially grab one late in this round and keep that system filled and keep having options available going forward. So I think that's something they might look at too. In the future, in a future video, we're going to get into some Flames draft history. What have they done in recent years in these specific rounds? And we'll be getting into the center debate. Which prospect who could be available to them in the first round, particularly at 18th, but not exclusively 18th. Which of these guys is the best fit for the Flames? Which one, if they're all available, should the Flames pick? And so we'll get into that. For now, though, that's all we got for this video, just to tee things up a month out. If you like this video, you know, please click the like button. If you really like this video, please click the subscribe button. And if you have other ideas for videos we can do, draft related or otherwise, here on the channel, throw them in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.